Welcome to The Click. This is how computers work, CPU, RAM, and speakers this time. Let's start with Central Processing Unit, or CPU. The CPU is the main processor of a computer that executes instructions and performs tasks such as calculations, logical operations, and controlling other computer activities. It acts as the brain of the computer. What does our brain do? Our brain as humans. Our brain helps our body to function. If our brain wasn't there, our heart wouldn't work. If our brain wasn't there, we couldn't talk, we couldn't think, we couldn't move, we couldn't breathe, we couldn't do anything. It's because of the instructions our brain gets and the way it commands the other parts of our body that we can live. This is exactly the case for computers. Central Processing Unit is just a fancy name for brain, but the brain of a computer, right? And it performs tasks such as mathematical calculations, logical operations, and controlling other computer components and activities. How it operates, it gets the instructions from RAM, from the random access memory, and we will talk about that in a minute, and then it processes it. It processes the instructions of the user, and then it executes the action or executes the results, and then after executing, it stores it as well in hard drive to have it for future use, right? So this is how Central Processing Unit works. Going for the 5 components of CPU, control unit, this controls actions. Arithmetic logic unit, this does calculations. Registers, this one holds current information. Cache memory, it stores frequently used information. And clock, as it's clear, it controls the timing of CPU when it operates. Okay, talking about random access memory, we said that CPU gets the information from RAM. What is RAM? Random access memory, or RAM, is a type of temporary computer memory that stores data and instructions the computer is currently using. The tabs that you have open in your taskbar, those are all stored in RAM. It allows the CPU to quickly access information, helping programs run faster and more smoothly. If CPU is the president of our computer, this would be the vice president because it helps it a lot to quickly access information. Okay, let's go for the types of RAM. You don't need to memorize or even pay very much attention to this. It's only for extra information, okay? Dynamic random access memory, this is the most common RAM type that there is. It's cheap, but it's a little bit slow. Static random access memory, this one is more expensive, but it takes more space. And at the same time, when you need a lot of it, it's not a good option. But it works faster though. SDRAM, or Synchronous Dynamic Random Access Memory, this one is an improved version of dynamic random access memory. It allows faster communication between the RAM and CPU. But in my opinion, the best one yet is double data rate SDRAM, okay? Or DDR SDRAM. This one is a newer and faster type of SDRAM, and it can transfer data very, very faster than the other 3 types. That is why it is the most common type of RAM used in modern computers. Okay, how RAM works. New data goes to RAM. For example, when you open a Word document, that gets stored in RAM, okay? And CPU processes it with the help of RAM. When you type, for example, with the help of RAM, that typing of yours, that input of yours goes to CPU processes it, and then it comes back as an output, written the alphabets or the numbers written on your computer's monitor. That is the work of RAM and CPU over there. And the third part is when the computer shuts down, RAM resets. That's why we call it short-term memory. If you don't store your information, and if it's left open and you shut down your computer, RAM resets and everything will be deleted from it. Okay, about speakers. Computer speakers are output devices that produce sound from a computer. We all know what speakers are, right? Computer speakers are also like that. They usually have built-in amplifiers. and connect to a computer through cables, USB or Bluetooth, to play audio such as music, videos, and notifications. We all know this. How it works, first of all, audio signal is sent, okay? When you play a video or music or notification, the computer creates a digital audio signal, okay? And it's being sent. And then the signal is converted into electrical signal. And then this electrical signal moves something called speaker driver. And this speaker driver moves the speaker cone back and forth, creating vibrations. And those sound waves are produced, and with the help of the atoms in the air, our ears get hit by those waves and vibrations, and that's why we can hear the music or the thing that we're listening to. And with that, we are done with this week's lessons completely. Thank you. Sources page.